Hello, hi, how are you? Welcome to the right side. We're back. I'm Amy.
I needed that.
Truly, I'm Amy Beth. She's Allison. He's JP, and we are the right side. Saying this for the first time, she's about to make her debut tagline, Influence Without Compromise. And we're so glad to be with you this morning for a Friday. We probably have a montage. Look, we got in last night and we're like, we have done nothing but work for 48 hours, like literally like grown folk. And we did. And we had a great time. And we'll get to that in 1 second. But like grown folk, we worked and then we rolled out of bed and got back to work this morning. And we're so happy to be here. We can't wait to hear from you on the text line. But we have a montage. Do we have Clown World, JP?
Listen, we have a montage, we have Clown World, and we have a Dallas montage.
No, we don't. What in the world?
Cannot wait.
This is fabulous. So
yeah.
Cannot wait.
Ta-da!
I got in this morning and went straight to work.
Okay. Well,
You're
I've got
such a professional.
I got something for you guys.
It
and
is
we got
hat
coffee.
day.
And I got coffee.
JP, God bless you.
Thank you for the coffee. Okay.
What are you looking for?
I have a word of the day, and you're going to know what this word is as we get started.
Also, real quick, while she's looking for that, I had to break my sweats rule because
why?
the last 48 hours.
We understand.
Was it that bad?
Well, no, I was just like tired this morning. So no jeans.
No problem.
Also, probably all my jeans were dirty, but that's also the other reason. So we had to, that's the only reason we're wearing sweats today. The pack is back on Monday.
Okay.
Okay. It's fine.
Bet.
All right.
That's why we have on hats.
It is why we have on hats.
I didn't even shower this morning.
Absolutely tragic when I woke up.
I did
this
put on
morning.
deodorant, but I did not shower.
I like you a little bit more.
Is that bad?
No.
I brushed my teeth.
Great.
I brushed the hair and then put on a hat.
You know what? We're here, and that's all that matters. Before we get started and do our montage, catching up, Clown World news, hearing from you, I have a medieval word of the day that you're going to love.
You better not futz with me.
Well, I've got one kind of like that.
Okay.
All right.
Let's futz.
This is, you can guess what this is, but the definition of this word of the day is X. Okay, that's the word of the day.
What?
Someone who talks nonsense. Someone who talks nonsense. What? Guess what you think that word is? It's medieval, but you're going to want to use this word.
It's
Do we use it still today?
No, but you're going to want to use it. Someone who talks
A
nonsense.
scallywag.
a
Close.
jibber jabber.
Close.
Like what? Who's the village idiot?
And I am going to have to spell this out.
What's it start with?
M. U.
Mollyguck.
You're close.
A molly buck.
One more. What you got?
A molly suck.
You're kind of in the realm of where we're going.
A mullywagon.
Okay.
Oh,
I can't handle it
that's
anymore.
good.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen carefully. Muck spout.
Muck spout.
Oh, we were close. We
Muck
had the muck and the uck.
spout.
Muck spout.
Muck spout. Someone who talks nonsense. Is that not such a fun word? Like Mike Vrabel, he's a muck spout.
He spouts muck.
Yeah.
You were a muck spouter.
Somebody who actually believed the SPLC was an honorable organization. No, the SPLC is a giant muck spout. It's pretty good. Did you like that?
I actually really like that.
Okay. What? Oh, did you just spill a drink on you?
I spilled it on the coffee warmer.
JP.
Anyways.
It's gonna start boiling.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
that's our word of the
I
day,
gotta have
guys.
Muck.
Muck spout.
Where are you going
He's leaving. He's had enough.
already?
Yeah.
We're 4 minutes in.
I know.
Oh, he's getting paper towels. I like muck spout. I don't ever want to be a muck spout, but unfortunately, this trip told me I might be a muck spout.
I may be a muck spout too. You know?
No. You are not. You're the opposite of a muck spout. You really are.
Me?
Yes, because you everything you say is very put together and well thought through and streamlined. That's not a muck spout.
Can I just be a muck spout for a second?
Well, yeah. But you're gonna have to try. You're gonna have to work really hard.
None of y'all are muck spouts. We're the opposite of muck spout.
I don't know. I think spilling coffee on your mug warmer may make me a muck spout. And it was boiling, by the way.
I'm so sorry, JP.
Is it M-U-C-K?
M-U-C-K, like muck raker,
Okay.
but muck spout. It makes so much sense. I say bring this word back, because how much of this do you hear from certain people that you're like, they're a total muck spout?
Is that, would we call Candace Owens that at this point?
Yes, at this point, since she has flown the coop and headed to Italy without actually telling her audience, she's gone. She's gone. She flew out yesterday. Muck spout.
Wait. Well,
gone.
She can go on vacation.
Oh, she didn't tell anybody.
Well, what? She doesn't have.
Okay, well, here.
SPLC. Could there be a connection? Or her lawyer dropped her. Macron case could be a connection. $12 million in offshore accounts, 2 multi-million-dollar homes.
Yep.
And now she out.
She gone.
She's a muck spout.
Oh, sorry. As she posted, she was like, I just realized I never told anybody. I'm going on.
How long is she going to be gone? Forever?
Indefinitely, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe she went to Rada and Chianti, and then I wouldn't be mad at her because I love that place.
Is this like asylum? Is she trying?
There are several people who've flown the coop. She was the first. So it's extremely interesting to me. She was the first one I saw, and then I went for verification. She gone. And then there are a couple others that are gone. I expect Tucker maybe will be gone soon too.
I'm just throwing that out there. Tucker at all? Because, we kind of disconnected. We had our own news fun, and it's like we were in a little sub world for the past 48 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
So I didn't really keep up, but I saw some of the video of Tucker and his brother Buckley, and they were like, Tucker looked like a mad scientist, like his hair's all disheveled, and he was kind of his eyes looked a little crazy. I'm like, I really think he needs to go to a cabin in the woods for a month. That's what I was telling you yesterday, and just detox the world. Like, come back to reality, lay in the grass, do some grounding, which is scientific, by the way, and just reconnect with God, the earth, and reality. Because he looks like he's losing it.
Well, what's funny is that he lives out in the sticks of Maine. So, that's where he lives.
Well, he needs to get out of that studio.
Do you think he smokes the ganja?
Smokes the what?
Ganja.
What's that?
The ganja weed.
Oh.
That's a 90s term.
It is a 90s term. I'm sorry, JP.
Okay.
I don't know, but I agree with you. He needs to not do what he's doing for 1 month and get back to the person that we all respected and admired. But right now they sound cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That's what they sound like.
I feel like he needs a hug.
He needs at least his wife to go, dude.
Yeah.
What are you doing? His sisters apparently come out of the woodwork. So it's a mess. It's just a mess. So he went from being, it's a total mess. He went from being somebody that we relied on to a muck spout.
Got nothing but muck.
Nothing. And it's hard to shovel muck. It's hard to shovel it.
Don't be
Sounds like from experience.
A muck shoveler.
I do.
By the way, are we going to tell everybody where we were for 2 days?
Let's do it.
Do you want to play the...
Well, we're going to play it, but maybe we need to lay the groundwork first so it makes sense a little bit of where we were, what we were doing.
Okay.
Do you want me to do it?
Take it away.
We went to the Turning Point Faith Pastor Summit in Dallas, technically Grapevine. for 2 days. We stayed at the Great Wolf Lodge, which was right next to the church. We did not, however, get to go on the water slide because it was closed both times when we got back. But that is where we stayed. But yeah, it was a great time, and maybe that'll make the montage make more sense. But
is this it? We haven't seen this yet. I
no,
have
they haven't.
No clue.
I started working on it while waiting for our flight back, and then I finished it this morning. But
all right, let's roll the tape.
there you go.
What were you drinking?
We have
We're waiting on Miss Pre-Check. There's the last one through. She's holding everybody up. I mean, they're literally racing. They're racing.
This is a great wolf.
this man. That's a great wolf.
And it's the pigeon on top.
It's the pigeon.
That's the NSA watching us.
Look, we didn't show the water slide. JP's gonna be burning it.
Going. So excited.
Have a great
We
wolf
can
day.
go 2 days in a row. Have a great wolf day.
Have a great wolf day.
Okay, let's go. JP, how you feeling?
You're like a kid again.
Allison, what did you do? Oh. Oh, it is. We have a little balcony. It's not bad.
It's nice.
This is not cute.
So we just sat through like Steve Day, Rep through, who else? Fred Turk, oh my word, so good, unbelievable. And look, we got Boot Gang.
That's good.
But he's the new creation in Christ. His name is like John Robert. No, that's mine. No, Holy Cabana.
A lot of good speakers, a lot of good nuggets of wisdom.
Hands up. Hands up. Here we go. Hands to the front. Hands to the back. Turn around.
Oh, that's us losers. Got stopped again. Why? It's always me.
And for those of you wondering, just making sure that they were men in the pilot seat.
I might have
Okay.
taken a later flight if there had been a woman.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that was Allison that had to make sure. It wasn't the guy who had to make sure.
No,
It was Allison.
Sinclair. Also, it was Sinclair who booked the Great Wolf Lodge because Allison, how much was it per night?
Y'all, it was $95 a night.
And $59 if we wanted to stay extra.
Yep.
And that included the water park that we didn't get to do. But everything else I was looking at was like at the Hyatt, whatever, boring. And it was twice as much. So why not?
Yeah, it was great. The rooms were great, and it was definitely fun. I wish we would have gotten to go on the water slide.
They had a Starbucks, a big one in the hotel. And you saw all these precious, darling dumpling children with their beleaguered looking parents. And we're like, it's okay. You'll make it through.
The funniest part was walking in though, and I guess they were hosting some sort of conference there.
Yeah.
Like where adults without children should have been there.
Yeah.
And so we're checking in, and they're like, "Are you at the conference?" We're like, "No, not the one here." And she just stared at us. And
Her name was Rosie.
Actually, she left her post like
Yeah.
she needed to go check with the FBI to make sure we weren't like kiddie
Weirdos.
Well,
kidnappers.
she walked up and she said that she was like, "Are y'all here for the conference?" And Allison goes, "Well, it depends. not this conference." And she just goes, Okay, come with me.
It's like
come
that
and check it.
cartoon music that goes beep boop.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay,
Huh.
no, I promise. We're here for another conference.
You were the best deal, though, Great Wolf Lodge. And actually, you're going to go back with
Yeah,
your
I'm
grandkids because it was
Roro, Honey, and Doc are going to take you to the Great Wolf Lodge, but the one in Pigeon Forge. I don't know when we're going to
even
go,
better.
but it is delightful and we are going to go. But it was an excellent event. I think we agreed on our favorite speaker, which was probably Seth Gruber with White Rose Resistance. He produced a documentary 1916. It was about Margaret Sanger, and that was excellent. They have a new one coming out, but his speaking was incredible because it really laid out for the first time your family inside your community, well, family and church and community and your state and your nation, that it all goes together. And that's why we care about what's going on around the country. They were amazing. That the Promise Keepers guy,
Shane
Yes.
Winnings.
that's his name.
He was one of
was
my favorites.
awesome.
He was great.
He was really, really good. I hope, and we did get his card. I hope he will do a podcast with us because now JP didn't know what Promise Keepers was.
Mm-mm.
It was huge in the 80s and 90s.
Mhm.
Is that really when it took off?
Huge.
I mean, I remember fill out stadiums. But this guy is the new CEO, president, and he was amazing. Like
One of us.
absolutely one of us. So
Mhm.
good. Who else did we hear from?
Tim Barton, was it Barton? I don't know his first name. Did the history yesterday.
Oh, that was
That was-
really
that was
good.
good.
Fascinating.
Kind of gave the history of debunking the myth that pastors have never had a say in American politics and America wasn't founded as a Christian nation, and laid out the many, like way more than I even knew, examples of pastors that literally helped win the American Revolution. Whether it was fighting in it themselves or being part of the first state legislature, like representatives to go and help draft the Constitution, like literally up to 50 or so. Like I think he listed out that much of pastors and examples of that. It was really cool, and it gave a lot of ammunition to use against people who try to claim that pastors have never had a role in politics in American history and shouldn't have a role. It was really good.
Oh, and we got to hear from Meg Basham on the media panel. That was excellent. We got to see Steve Dace shake his hand.
And got a picture. Okay, well, we won't put that picture up.
Thank you.
But they
and
did get a
then
picture.
We did get a
We
picture.
met Sharik Khan, who heads up a ministry. Can't remember the name of it, but we'd love to get him here as well because he was an ex-Muslim, now a believer, and helps people basically equip believers to minister to their Muslim neighbors. And I'm sorry, those are my computer products going off. He was excellent. And then who else? It was just and then to hear from Erica Kirk, that's probably the part we should talk about because everybody's like, what did you really think?
I still am going to need some time because okay. There are some this is hard to do, but we're going to have to talk about it, which is just all the talk around Turning Point and what's going on, and Erica versus Candace versus Tucker versus. And so I think when we were invited to go and they paid for everything and we get the opportunity to go experience ourselves. And that's the one thing that I think we always drive home in trying to do is, look, there are so many things that are said about us, things that are floating around on the internets right now about us that are so not true. I can't even begin to put into words how untrue they are. And I think as you venture out into the public sphere, just not like Jesus, but I do go back to how misunderstood Jesus was and how people said things about him that weren't true. And we are promised that as we go about this life, that we will be persecuted and slandered and talked about. Jesus just kind of kept walking If he had tried to chase down every false thing that was said about him, he would have not been able to do anything else. So I think as we put ourselves out there every day, we expect that that's going to come after us. But being on this side, kind of having a forward front face, you're talked about a lot and a lot of things that are not true. So what I think we try and say is go experience it for yourself. If you have questions about us, come talk to us, have a conversation with us. And so when we were invited to go to Turning Point, I think we were like, you know what? We hear all these things. It's easy to fall into one camp or the other. But if you have the opportunity to experience it yourself, go do that. Form your own opinion. Don't just fall into this camp or this camp. Go do it. And so we went. And I will say for me, it was awesome. But there's still a few things that I think need to be talked about. And I don't know if we have time to do it now. But there were some kind of questions. The Israel thing was very, very real.
Yeah.
And there was a lot, like almost every other table when you walked in, you know, as when we first walked in the hall, there's a Hillsdale College, and right beside it is, you know, submit your prayer to the Wailing Wall and almost every other table was something about Israel. Now, they pay to have a table there. So they're not going to turn down anybody, you know, that doesn't bother me. But even from the speakers, there was a theme through a lot of them, but a lot of them didn't mention it either. And so I felt I just walked away. My question was, I get the whole Israel Christian thing, and it is a very important question, but it almost felt like it was way too much talked about.
Yes. Oh dear.
What?
I'm about to say something.
Oh, well, my stomach just dropped. What are you going to say?
By the way, I can push the break like 2 or 3 minutes if we want to keep going on this.
Keep going, but I'll say, I'm going to have to say what.
Well, I mean, like we're walking down the hall. We were just going to get breakfast and she was really sweet because we went back and talked to them. We went back to the table the next day and talked to them. As you're walking, it's kind of like being in the mall where they try and hand you these samples of things. And I got shoved this book called Christian Zionism. And it's all about how Christian Zionism is right and it's the right way of thinking. And like literally she stuck it in my stomach and I took it. And then she asked me if I wanted some Israeli chocolate. And I was like, I was so kind of bumfuzzled. Oh, here it is. All right. And so this was one of the books that now this is not a Turning Point. I need to say that this is not a Turning Point funded initiative. This is the internet. What is it? The international,
their International Christian Jewish Embassy, something.
And then they gave us a book on replacement theology and why it's wrong. So we stood and talked to them for a while, and it actually was a really good conversation. But what it led me to think was, man, words really, really matter. And when you are having these conversations, it's so hard to just put them out there with a blanket statement. Mm-hmm. Because the more we talk to these people, we're like, maybe we're closer in a lot of the thoughts than we think. But that was my only thing. The speakers were amazing. Erica Kirk, maybe we'll talk about her on the other side, because I do think that's worth talking about. What were you going to say that?
So we agree with the embassy, the Christian embassy, that there should be a ministry to our Jewish brothers and sisters, just like there should be a ministry to any non-believing group of people in the world. Period. We agree with that. That is our admonition, is to take the gospel into all the world, to the ends of the earth. Got it. But the fervor with which they pushed it felt cultish. It felt like it was Jehovah's Witnesses to me. And that was odd, because we believe we're going to just put the information out there and we're going to let you make up your own mind. They were really, and we mean the tables of people, but they were pushing this. And that is, and then tying anybody who didn't believe in this connection, not ministering to them, but the supporting the Jewish state of Israel, doing everything you could for the Jewish people, tying it to any disagreement, tying it to anti-Semitism or perhaps a bent toward anti-Semitism. And we read the books on the way home. I've had my pastor preach several sermons, write columns on it. That was the part that really gave me pause. And again, it wasn't necessarily Turning Point pushing it, but it was everywhere. And there was no space to say, could we agree with what we agree on, but have a decent conversation about where we disagree? Because what's missing in these books was the deep history of the church fathers.
Well,
And it
was there, but not in a good way.
It was not in a good way. It was spun. And so I know this is going to infuriate people, but we're just putting it out there. The event was unbelievable, but this part we all left scratching our heads a little bit. Is that fair?
I think it's really fair. And I do think it's unfair to have this conversation in like 10 minutes. So I don't know if we want to revisit it later.
Yeah.
We can do it another day. But overall, the conference was great. The speakers were amazing. And I would say on 95% of what they said, we were locked in.
That's right.
So the question is that 5%, how do you deal with that? I don't know. We'll be back with something on the other side.
Me, Beth Shaver, with Allison Sinclair, and we are joined by Admiral Brian Christine, who is the Assistant Secretary for Health at HHS. And it is a thrill and it is an honor, sir, to have you here. Thank you.
Oh, it's a privilege to be here. It is so fun to have come back home to Sweet Home, Alabama, to come see my family and to do this, to work with y'all, to do this podcast, to help get the messaging out that we need to, so the American people know the good things that we're doing in Washington, the good things that Secretary Kennedy and President Trump are doing. And so as we start off, I have to give a shout out, obviously, to our president and to Secretary Kennedy, because they are working so hard to make this country healthier than she's ever been, to make Americans stronger than we've ever been, to make America great again. So thanks for the opportunity.
So before we jump into those values issues and talking about making our country healthy again, which is such a relief, could you tell those who may not know you or have heard about you, because you are a legend, a little bit about your background?
Sure.
As we jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born, my father was in the Army. I was born in what used to be West Germany. Now, if you're old enough like me, you remember that one time there was an East and a West Germany during the Cold War. My father was a tanker. In other words, he was in armor in the Army, tanks. And we had a lot of armor assets deployed along the East-West border during that time. I was born in 1963, at really the height of the Cold War. So I was born in West Germany. My father ultimately went Special Forces. In his second tour of Vietnam, he was really severely injured, lost an arm and a leg, got out of the military. We ultimately settled in Augusta, Georgia, had some family there. I went to medical school at Emory in Atlanta, and then I came over to UAB for my residency, and that's how I got to Birmingham. I did my residency in urologic surgery, completed my residency, and then I joined a urology group here in Birmingham, and I practiced with that group for 24, 25 years, really subspecializing in men's health. That was kind of my gig. Then I got the call for the nomination to be the Assistant Secretary for Health from President Trump. Went through the confirmation process. Ultimately, was confirmed by the Senate. I was confirmed into this position last November, and here you are. So now I'm in Washington as the Assistant Secretary for Health.
Were you expecting that call? I mean, how does this happen?
Yeah,
you're just like
that's a great
Brian
question.
Christine in Birmingham, Alabama, and you get a call that you're the next Rachel Levine. What's her boy name?
Richard.
Richard Levine. Richard Levine.
You're
That's
Richard.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, I am President Trump upgrade from Richard Levine.
We would say
there
so.
We're very grateful
Yes,
for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I really think, listen, I think one of the reasons that President Trump nominated me and that Secretary Kennedy wanted me in the position is because I practiced medicine on the front lines. I was kind of a Main Street doctor. And I think they liked the idea of having someone who really understood medical care and delivery from a Main Street level. Personally, I think also one of the reasons that President Trump wanted me in this position, because there's really not another visual that shows the difference between the horrible Biden administration and the really righteous and good Trump administration, and the fact that you have me in the same position as Levine. I'm a man who wears men's clothing. And that really says all you need to know about the last administration and this administration. For sure.
I always thought he could have done a better job, like zhuzhing it up a little bit. Like it was like he put on some earrings and a dress, and that was it. Like, but we can work a little harder. But I think America, the juxtaposition is overwhelming from what y'all are doing versus what he was doing.
Well, no, exactly. When you look at Levine, I mean, again, his agenda was, no question about it, the transgender and minors agenda was so important for him. All he wanted to do was to tell little boys they could be little girls, little girls they could be little boys, and then recommend castrating surgeries, castrating chemicals, hormones, and do irreversible harm to these kids. So if you go back and look at what he talked about, mostly that was it. I mean, Levine advocated for removing any kind of age restriction on transgender treatment in kids. He advocated for those sex-rejecting surgeries. That's what we call them. People say transgender surgery. No, in this administration, we talk about sex-rejecting surgeries and procedures because that's what they are. And that was his big focus, right? I personally believe he was in that position as a statement. I personally believe he was in that position to be an eyepiece, not because he really cared about the health of the country. So I'm really happy to be in this position to be able to reverse and to right so many of the wrongs that the last administration and Levine, perpetrated on the country.
So in this position, you're able to do a lot of good. Could you talk to us about your roles and responsibilities?
Sure. As the Assistant Secretary for Health, you have kind of a three-level role. One is to help form healthcare policy, to work across the different divisions of the Department of Health and Human Services, to work with the CDC and NIH and FDA.
Welcome back to The Right Side. I am Amy Beth with Allison and JP, rolling through a Friday, giving our recap of our event that we loved attending. And we're so glad we got to go and, like Allison said, experience it for ourselves. But JP had a few thoughts that he wanted to share. JP.
Well, we were talking about the Israel thing being so it was front and center, actually. Literally, when you walk in, it was one of the first tables, and just how much of that conversation was present from the speakers to the tables and such. I mean, we kind of alluded to our personal thoughts and feelings on some of the things that we read from the tables and others, which I think is probably a conversation for another time and needs a deep dive within itself. But I will say this, regardless, I was a bit shocked. I was expecting, I know Turning Point is a pro-Israel organization, but I was shocked about how much it was almost shoved down the throats of everybody that was there. But here's my takeaway from it, is that it's an issue that whichever side you're on needs to be discussed, because whether we like it or not, it's becoming a part or a conversation on the right that is ripping us apart. And you kind of get in your own echo chamber a little bit of people that agree with you, on certain issues. And then you go somewhere where we were in the minority in terms of our views on that. And at least my reaction was like, oh, people really are still that deep in this belief. So regardless of your personal beliefs or thoughts on it, whether we like it or not, it is an issue that we have to tackle because of how prevalent it is in terms of the side on the right that believes that, and just how polarizing it is. Like, it is literally ripping our party or our side apart is the Israel issue. So that was my biggest takeaway of, like, regardless of my personal thoughts, it's like, oh, this is something that we can't just avoid and not talk about because of how prevalent it is. Like, you unfortunately have to tackle it. And it's shocking, but it's just reality. And maybe we needed a little bit of that. Hey, we know what we believe, and we, for the most part, hang around with people that kind of believe what we believe, but people out there on your side still don't, and they are bought in. And it's unfortunately something you have to deal with.
And I also think that in addition to the conversation that we will have, we've had it with Rich Lusk in our podcast that we did, but we'll get him back on to talk about it, and we'll make some resources available to you, perhaps in show notes. But it shouldn't make you sick to talk about it because it's such a polarizing issue. We should be able to have the conversation that we want to minister to our brothers and sisters, that we support Israel's right to not only exist, but to defend themselves, period. Like, we're for all of that. We're for all of God's children. But we differ in areas, and that does not make somebody wrong or crazy or in the, like, it just, there are assertions lobbed in these books that we read that we're not any of those things. But we do need to have that conversation, and we need to do it without wanting to go to war over it. And so I can't wait until we have the conversation. I really can't.
I think, JP, I'm with you. Because we just kind of, and we talked about this. It's not a tier 1 issue for me. I mean, honestly, it's kind of the predestination. Oh, this is so getting so into the weeds, but it's kind of like the predestination versus free will discussion. You know what? At the end of the day, whoever's going to heaven is going to heaven, and whoever's going to hell is going to hell, whether you choose it or God chooses it, like whatever. Like, the end result is the same. So for me, this whole, how you view Israel, it does matter for like a worldview kind of geopolitical thing. But at the end of the day, God saves who he saves. And I mean, we could be all wrong. So it's not a tier 1 issue. What it felt like, though, was that it was a tier 1 issue for them in their defense. All that they have put up, because they almost every single speaker talked either directly or indirectly about Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson and the attacks that are coming after them. They have been dealing with that for months. So I almost don't blame, and a lot of where the attacks start are, because when Charlie was killed, texts about Israel, like that whole conversation started about his fear and his view of like the Israeli donors, taking over, or him having to do, whether that's true or not, but that's where the conversation started. So I don't blame them. I mean, they have been under severe attack and slander and all that for months. So I kind of get the posturing. And the other thing, that take Turning Point out of it, you don't want to slip into the side of anti-Semitism either. And that's where you do have to be really careful of, like, the Jews, the Muslims, the Americans, we are all just the same kind of sinners. Bottom line, we all need Jesus. We all need a savior. They are not worse than us. They're also not better than us. And so I think it's such a good discussion, but we just have to be able to have the discussion instead of just, it almost felt like I thought maybe we were going to have to go drink some Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It was very strong.
Yeah.
And that it makes me uncomfortable to talk about it. It made me uncomfortable to see it. It made me uncomfortable to read this and go through with all of the questions that we have. Instead of, in our worldview, that you have your beliefs, and you're right, you don't want to slip into one or the other, but we've got to be logical and reasonable. And we also have to look at history and what history teaches us. And that's missing from the discussion. So, that, like Allison said, 95% thumbs up, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. However, we're going to have that discussion, and we're going to do it without throwing punches and throwing fists and throwing hands. We're not going to do that, because that's what reasonable people do. Because what is it? Who said it? Be careful of what you cannot talk about, or who you cannot talk about, because that's who rules over you. And we're not going to fall into that trap. We're just not going to do it. Now, the person we want to talk about quickly before we get into the montage was Erica Kirk. Her talk was grounded and level-headed, and it was real. And I was surprised in the best kind of way, because the person on TV is the TV picks up every little thing. But when you watch her on stage, for me, I'm like, oh, she's really good. Like what she had to say was real and it was honest.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. We were 8 rows away from her. That's the other thing. There were not as many people there as I thought. Now they said it's the largest pastors summit that's ever been. So maybe my view is a little skewed, but there weren't as many people there as I thought. And we were right. And so for her to come out and just, you've watched her on TV. She was tiny, number one. Tiny. Didn't y'all think she was really little?
Tiny.
Yeah.
She was real little. But I thought she seemed genuine in that moment. She seemed calm. She seemed grounded. She cried. Now her eyes are, even in person, a little like she does the big eye thing. I think that's maybe just her. Just her.
Yeah.
Everybody has their weird little tics that they do. But overall, I don't know. Overall, I thought she was way more genuine than I anticipated.
Yeah.
And God love her. I don't know. Can you imagine what she's been through these past few months?
No. Yeah, I agree. And I think this was the main theme of the whole summit, which we agreed with and was really us, was Christians and pastors getting involved politically. And if you don't, then the consequences are dire and evil takes over. So that overall was the overarching theme of the whole summit, which was right up our alley. And I think that was the main theme of Erica's speech as well. I had the same takeaway. I think you can spin Erica into a certain light if you want to, like what Candace does. Because if you view it from the lens of Erica being in on Charlie's death, or Erica being a prop for political gain, and her and Charlie were an arranged marriage, and then they took Charlie out to bring Erica, like all the crazy stuff that Candace says. If you want to view her through that light, then yeah, you'll see her weird eye, whatever in that light. You'll see some of the things she says in that light. You'll even maybe accuse her of having fake tears, like I've seen Candace do, of like having something to put up fake tears so that she cries every time. So yeah, if you want to view it through that light, you can. I had the same thought, Allison. I think I think her mannerisms are just her. I think somebody said, I can't remember that. I mean, Erica was a theater kid growing up, and she wasn't. So they kind of have their own personality that other people may seem as bizarre, but that's just kind of them. But I thought the speech itself was very genuine and good. I haven't seen many speeches from Erica that aren't just her, memorializing Charlie. So to see Erica actually give commentary and political and theological, I thought the speech was really good. But yes, in terms of her personal mannerisms, I thought that's just kind of her, but also it's in the eye of the beholder. If you want to look at Erica in that light, then you'll see it in that light. I don't think that's her. Her daughter introduced her. Did y'all catch that? She came out, which was cute. So
wait, her daughter was on stage?
No, it's behind. But you know how somebody had a mic in the back.
Yeah.
And she said I think she said like Mama Erica or something. Yeah. But I agree. And she didn't say her name, but she didn't really have to she talked about Candace and, take it with joy when people lie about you and smear you and such. So yeah.
That part was really good.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you, if you're fake crying, do you fake snot too?
Allison, I had that same thought during the speech.
Because when you ugly cry,
yeah,
everybody snots, everybody poops. But she had, and so she kept wiping her nose. I'm like, I don't know if you can fake that.
No.
I mean, maybe if your eyes water.
Well, no, because this is stupid why I know this, but your eyes are connected to your nose in that way. So when you're actually crying, yeah, that's the result. So you can't just have fake tears running down your face without that. But yeah, towards the end, I had that thought. I was like, obviously not fake,
Yeah.
So
not a robot. Mm-hmm. Not a robot. Just a real mom, a real brokenhearted mom. How many of you guys could do that same thing if it were you? So, but I'm so glad we got to go. And it was crazy and wild getting there. doing all the things.
Hmm.
But
Mhm.
we met so many great people.
I had
It's hard
so
to-
much fun with y'all too. Oh, we didn't even talk about Mookie Betts.
I was about to say
Mookie
Mook,
Betts.
Mookie Betts.
Mook,
Boom.
Boom gang.
It's
Boom gang.
Holy Gabbana.
Unbelievable.
John Robert Hill.
So that's my government name.
We're gonna get him. I mean,
Yeah, we are.
his story, holy cow, so good. But I know we have text. I just want to say I had a blast with y'all.
Had a blast with
It
it.
was
Yeah, I
like
did
some
too.
of the funniest, just so much fun.
Yes.
Well, you knew we were going to have fun when, well, I already knew we were going to have fun, but I was really cracking up that Allison got stopped immediately with her monster. Then somebody was in the wrong seat and Allison volunteered as tribute and had to have a conversation for an hour and 42 minutes.
The whole flight.
The whole flight. And
Did
there was
not
no
stop.
getting out of it. And then JP and I just naturally started racing on the people mover and beside it to see who could get there the fastest. And I'm like, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
This is hilarious.
I'm so glad we actually like each other. Can you imagine if we had to go on work trips like that and we were
Oh
like,
my word. Yeah.
maybe the worst.
Oh, JP, I can't tell you how many times my husband said, I feel so sorry for JP.
I have genuinely I have a blast with though everywhere we go. But what was the one guy from White Rose where he said he said to me, he was like, "Oh, bro, you have a lot on your hands. I'm sorry." And then when we were leaving, he waved to y'all and looked at me and goes,
Praying for you, buddy.
yeah.
That was the table we were trying to set you up with Dixie Lee.
Which
What
she
a
was,
doll.
Yeah. She was when she said she wrote her Southern paper or her senior paper on why the South seceded, I was like, okay, we
We can
might be
talk.
a match made in heaven.
She renamed us, everybody, by the way.
Mhm.
We have new Southern names and we'll debut them at some point. But in honor of Dixie Lee, we've got new names and they're great.
I can't tell y'all last night.
What did you do?
That's how you missed me nailing my head.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yes.
I laughed in the middle of the night about that.
did you really?
I mean, yeah, because it just was. And what I kept, okay, so we're getting off the plane. We're so tired. And JP and I are next to each other. And he gets up and is going down the aisle. And of course, I'm multitasking. I don't know. I was sending a text. And I mean, I started going, you start panicking because everybody behind you is waiting for you to go because they have, a sense of like honor and they let you file out in line. And I was holding up the whole thing. So I jump up.
Stood straight up.
Boom.
I mean, it sounded like a
Oh.
bomb went off.
Oh, it was loud.
And what made me laugh is I just kept rehearing like 12 people behind us go, oh,
Yeah, they did.
oh.
I get up and I start walking, and behind me I hear I heard that. I heard the ooh, and I turn back and I see Allison like grabbing her head, and everybody
That
behind
hurts.
Allison is like,
Hurts.
And what's funny is I looked back and everybody like looked at Allison, and I think they knew I was with you, so then they looked at me, and my initial reaction was start laughing, and
You're like, her son is so rude, not even taking care of her. Yeah, JP and his two moms all week.
I know.
Same brain. No one could figure out how
my
we
two
all
moms.
went together until we said we're a media team. But they did look at us funny.
And one of the waiters came back with our check from dinner and handed it straight to me. And I looked at it, and at first I was like, can we split it 3 ways? And then when he came back, I was like, I should have just told you to put it on my 2 moms' debit card.
Who did he think you were?
I don't know.
Our
but
son.
No, but why you wouldn't hand your son the check?
He probably thought I was
Like
y'all were my two. my two
we're
girls.
like you're our pimp?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
great. I
That's
don't know.
awkward.
Should we walk
Kind
around
of
with
like the
signs?
guy at Jim and Nick's.
You're old enough to be my mom. Okay. Anywho,
We do have comments and texts.
Oh,
Oh.
let's go.
crying.
Mark Marty on YouTube. He said, y'all haven't been on YouTube the last 2 days. What happened, JP? I missed you all.
Aw. I said that. I said, I
Thanks,
wonder if
Mark.
anybody even noticed we were gone.
We missed y'all.
We did.
We really did.
Jeff from Indiana says,
Jeff!
looks like everyone had a good time.
Hi.
Jeff, where have you been?
He's been watching.
Hey, man.
I guess. Yeah.
Well, why you need to say hello more often. I bet he's in Nashville.
Or sometimes he doesn't work on Fridays. He may be at home watching.
Sup, Jeff?
And then Brad from Crimestone on the text line, he said, a Dallas montage, ? Are we finally going to find out for real who shot JR?
Oh,
I appreciate that, Brad.
And then he also says, there are some questions to which the answer is always yes. Quote, do you want some chocolate of any sort is one of them. Talking about Allison's Israeli chocolate.
I like him. Yeah, why didn't you get some chocolate?
I think I was thrown off. It literally was shove Christian Zionism into my belly, and then immediately, do you want some Israeli chocolate? And I felt like I had whiplash. I was like, I can't even process.
I should have jumped back in and gone, here.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry. I left you
Israeli
hanging.
chocolate?
Probably delicious.
Chocolate made in Israel.
There's Dubai chocolate. That's all the rage.
Israeli chocolate's probably yum. Oh.
I think Amy Beth was behind Allison and I, or kind of, off to the left. And I saw the get shoved in Allison's face, and she was like, oh, thank you. And I think she was reading it and like figuring out what happened as she was passing the chocolate girl. And I just hear, do you want some Israeli chocolate? I was like, oh no,
it's like they're buttering us up with chocolate.
They were such nice people, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Really did enjoy talking to them.
Yeah, one of them was from Huntsville, Auburn. Anyway.
Well, real quick before the break, do we want to play the montage so we can preview and get on the other side?
Absolutely.
I don't even know what's in it. Let's go.
Well, that's the best part.
Time for news.
The charity that supposedly fought the Klan funded the Klan. The charity that supposedly fought neo-Nazis funded neo-Nazis. The Southern Poverty Law Center ran a methodical, calculated scheme to defraud their donor base of $3 million and lied to them and used an illicit banking structure system to create shell companies to hide their money and who it was being sent to, specifically for the reason to sow discord and hate into our society.
On this bill, we're afraid the Democrats will just shut us down again September 30th. So through reconciliation, we're going to be able to fund CPB and ICE for 3 years.
You say in this letter that this could potentially be a, quote, grave threat to United States national security and to U.S. personnel with access to scientific secrets.
Well, obviously, we know that there are programs in the past where foreign countries have used programs to try to encounter, engage, sometimes get the nation's top scientists to either stop what they're doing or come and work for that country.
This judge in Southern Virginia ordering results to not be certified. The judge called the ballot language flagrantly misleading.
Well, it certainly was flagrantly misleading, but my basic reaction is that I appreciate lower court wins, but the Virginia Supreme Court is going to decide this. And to Terry's point about, well, hey, if they didn't decide it before, there's a reason the Supreme Court held off until after the vote.
Sir, would you use a nuclear weapon against Iran? You posted on Truth Social a few weeks ago.
We don't need it. Why do I need it? Why would a stupid question like that be asked? Why would I use a nuclear weapon when we've totally, in a very conventional way, decimated them without it? No, I wouldn't use it. A nuclear weapon should never be allowed to be used by anybody.
Which is so different than what people were propagandizing us with last week.
Wait, but I thought he asked for the nuclear code.
I actually took it a different way.
What'd you take it as?
I took it as that response was rather defensive. Because if you didn't do that and you got asked, you'd be like, no, why would I use it? What a stupid question. No, I wouldn't. It's like, you got really mad. But I don't know. I'm not saying that the story that he went for the nuclear close is necessarily true. But my initial reaction was like, that was a defensive response. Like, he barked at her. It's like, if it's such a stupid question, which it was, why would you? I don't know.
Was it stupid, though?
Well, that's what I mean. Of like, and if you're saying it's a stupid question, then why would you have that response?
We'll have to talk about it. And the SPLC.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know the history of it. We may need to go back. I didn't realize it used to be legit. Not anymore. We'll be right back.
With HHS leadership to help form healthcare policy. So we help form the policy. We help implement that policy. There's also a communication role, which really appeals to me. in that we help to communicate the policy to healthcare establishments, healthcare providers, and to the country at large. Okay. The Surgeon General falls under the Assistant Secretary for Health. So when we have our new Surgeon General in, and I'm happy to say that Dr. Casey Means will be having her hearing before the Senate on the 25th of this month, I believe. She'll be an amazing Surgeon General. We're going to work so well together. But together we'll be advancing the message of the Department of Health and Human Services and President Trump to the American people. So there's that communication aspect to the role. And then also, the Assistant Secretary for Health can serve as a civilian, or they can do as I did, which is request commission from the president. So I have been commissioned as the senior admiral at the Public Health Service, specifically the Commission Corps. So you have the U.S. Public Health Service, and then you have something called the Commission Corps, and these are commissioned officers. I'm a 4-star admiral. I lead the Commission Corps, and so one of the other roles I have is as a flag officer, an admiral, is to lead the Commission Corps of the Public Health Service, and that's about 5,400 doctors, nurses, pharmacists, therapists. Believe it or not, we've got a few veterinarians in there as well, dentists, dermatologists. We are Secretary Kennedy's tip of the spear strike force for public health initiatives. And it's really a privilege to wear this uniform. It's a privilege to receive the salutes that I receive from other members of other uniformed services and my own officers. To wear this uniform is a privilege, but that's a big part of what I do, is to lead the Commission Corps, because we really are the edge of the knife, the tip of the spear for public health in the United States. And I have officers deployed other parts of the world as well, primarily in the U.S. We work at Guantanamo Bay, for instance. We work with ICE agencies. We work with DHS. We supply doctors and nurses to the Indian Health Service, which is a big role. We have officers that work at FDA, work at CDC. They're out in community health centers. So we're all over the place, but that's part of my role as well.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
I had no idea.
It's a lot of people. And these officers, these are good men and women. These are good men and women who want to serve, who care about this country. And one of the things I have been told by officer after officer is they said, we are so happy that we have a new Assistant Secretary for Health. We're demoralized by our prior Assistant Secretary because we knew he didn't really care about us. He put the uniform on as a political stunt. Brian, you wear the uniform because you care about the country and you want to serve the President and the Secretary.
So going into this role, like, you're just kind of starting. If now, and hopefully we'll do an interview as you're leaving and we can reassess, but give us your top 3, like, these are the things that I definitely want to get done while I'm here. What would those be?
Yeah, and so my agenda is, of course, Secretary Kennedy's agenda and the President's agenda. We all work for the President. He's the Commander-in-Chief. I work with Secretary Kennedy as we both serve the President and serve the people. And so the things that are really important to us at the Department of Health and Human Services, we know that affordability of health care, affordability of drugs, making sure we have good health care delivered to everybody, whether it be in a city or in these rural environments, that is something incredibly important to the President and the Secretary and myself. Also, we have our values issues. In other words, and we can talk about this, right to life issues, respect for the dignity of every man, woman, and child in this country. That's incredibly important to us. Taking care of men, taking care of women, that's important. So affordability, these values issues, and doing everything so different from the last administration and the last Department of Health and Human Services. We absolutely are guided by science. That's something that Secretary Kennedy has said again and again. We are guided by gold standard science, and we use that science to form policy and to do things that are going to make America healthier than she's ever been.
Okay, but Dr. Fauci says he is science. So are we Dr. Fauci science, or are we, like, how do you...
Are we science?
We are science. We are science. Listen, people can think what they want about Dr. Fauci. I prefer not to think about Dr. Fauci. I don't have much regard or respect for that individual. But who I do have regard and respect for are RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Bhattacharya, who was so incredibly strong during the COVID pandemic. He leads the NIH, the National Institutes of Health. I have respect for Dr. Oz, Mehmet Oz, who heads up CMS, Medicare and Medicaid. He is amazingly brilliant, amazingly committed to this country. We have Marty McCary, who is out at FDA. Marty also cares deeply. We don't have a CDC director right now. The interim director is a man named Jim O'Neill. Jim is also the deputy secretary at HHS, incredibly smart, incredibly strong, committed to life, committed to science. So those are the people I think about. I don't worry about Anthony Fauci. I don't want to think about Anthony Fauci. He did enough harm to this country. Yeah. I think about President Trump and our team now at HHS because we're doing amazing things.
You clearly are. So could we jump in then to those values issues that you've mentioned? Top of the list, right to life.
Yes.
And hello. Welcome back. You know what we're not going to be today on the show? Muck spouts.
Mm-mm.
I'm Amy Beth. She's Allison. He's JP. We are the right side.
No muck spouts.
And we are going to discuss the great stories in JP's fantastic montage. And we are going to start with the SPLC because that's a whole thing. And we need to examine it because I'm going to go back to this guy. It's not a surprise that we had been had by the SPLC. If you want to listen to a history even of something else, another organization, the CIA, for example, listen to Mike Benz's talk from Hillsdale College laying out that there's much of what we live in that is framed. And the SPLC was a huge framer of wrong, but portrayed as right. And so the fine people at Charlottesville, Virginia was just the beginning of what many of us knew to be a hoax. Now we know. And so let's dig into that because it really illustrates the problem is that too often we fall for things on the left and the right that have no grounding in truth. The SPLC basically created and funded just one example. There's many more. White supremacy in that narrative, and they paid for it. When the bottom line is we all pretty much in our regular lives, we get along with each other, but they couldn't have that. And so they had to do this. JP, could you break down real quickly for us what the charges were?
So this is a Washington Post article on Tuesday. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche announced that a grand jury in Montgomery, Alabama, returned an 11-count indictment against the nonprofit, charging it with bank fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. Speaking at a news conference in Washington, Blanche said the SPLC paid more than $3 million between 2014 and 2023 to at least 8 individuals working inside groups such as the Ku Klux Klan and the National Socialist Movement. In some instances, Blanche said, the source of the money was disguised through accounts associated with fictitious businesses. Said, quote, it was doing the exact opposite of what it told its donors it was doing, not dismantling extremism, but funding it. So essentially, they had fictitious fake businesses, organizations that they were claiming to their donors they were paying money to do what the SPLC is supposed to do, which is to, support civil rights and such, wherein they were actually funding the organizations and individuals in the organizations that they're fighting against, almost to have paid opposition or propped up opposition to justify the SPLC's existence in the first place. But $3 million is a lot of money. So that is the summarization of what they're charged with.
But okay, stick with me.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do some mental gymnastics. It's not really gymnastics, but okay, the shell companies, the wire fraud, the non-existent people, maybe that's all illegal. But in some roundabout way, by funding extremism, and I know actual names have been put out there, I'm not going to say them, but by funding extremism on the right, doesn't that ultimately help your case on the left? If you make America look like it is this, Ku Klux Klan loving patriot, Proud Boys, Proud Boys, Charlottesville, pitchforks and torches, America, doesn't that bolster? I mean, of course, yes, you'll get more money, but doesn't that bolster the left to come after the right? I mean, it's not the way I would do it, but if you're wanting to create this class war, this culture war, this race war, that's the way you do it.
Right. It's the ultimate Hegelian dialectic.
Okay.
Here's the problem. We have the solution. Oh, by the way, we were funding the problem and the solution.
Right.
Surprise.
Okay. So they're basically geniuses.
Yes.
Evil geniuses. Yeah.
Evil geniuses.
Yes.
And everybody bought into it.
Yes.
And we had to go through all these years of Chaz and Places on Fire and the Summer of Love and Charlottesville and all these things. But the goal, and this is what just gets me, and if you have a brain, you've seen this, the goal is not restoration. It's not racial, peace. It is to totally dismantle and deconstruct America. And they're winning at that, except their narrative is breaking down. They now have been charged by the DOJ, but does that keep the George Soros is doing the exact same thing. How do you get to him? I mean, SPLC is powerful. It's been around since 1971. I didn't even know that. Used to do really good things, but now we're here. But how do you stop? Okay, we handled this. Great. Way to go, Patel. How do you handle this? Because this is a global issue.
Question, first of all, origins. Who started the SPLC? Was that started by Martin Luther King?
Lawyer Morris Dees, Joseph Levin Jr., and Julian Bond.
Okay, so I would argue that even the origins of SPLC are sus based on those men, because some of them may have had ties to communism, because the whole thing is communist.
Well, yes.
So ginning up support because creating chaos, like you said, is exactly the point. And what's the ultimate goal of communism? It is to seize the means of production. It is to completely create chaos so that then they can come in and have their way and be in charge. That's what they wanted. Now, how do we get to George Soros? I don't know yet how you do that, but what I do know is that once people's eyes have been opened to, oh, wait, are you telling me that what I'm experiencing or have been told I'm seeing isn't real? That's just a little bit of a fissure in the whole argument, and maybe it'll break the whole thing wide open. Maybe it'll make people go, why do people at these pro-Palestine protests have signs? Who's funding that? We know who's funding it, but it may take people a minute to go, wait, people that you and I know and love, who are very liberal and very dug in, to go, even if we had said, do you understand that's a hoax? Because I saw people that I know and love post about the Charlottesville hoax. And I'm like, that's a hoax. It's been debunked. Now that they know that that was funded by the SPLC, now that they know the SPLC was funding the KKK, maybe they go, oh, which then would cause them to look around, just like it did for us in COVID, that we're like, wait, the doctors, I've lost trust. And then you go digging. I think it sets people off on a journey, especially if this is their bent, to believe all the white supremacy, nationalism, all the horrible things. However, let me throw something else out there. This is what I mentioned about Tim Cook.
Oh, shoot.
Connect the dots here. This is from a person named Ripcord. Tim Cook of Apple announced he was stepping down as CEO the day before the SPLC announcement came out. Following the 2017 Charlottesville incident, Apple and CEO Tim Cook pledged $1 million each to the SPLC and the ADL. Apple matched employee donations 2-1 and created an iTunes donation tool to support the SPLC. Track the resignations. The coincidences are piling up.
Yikes. Let me also provide some of the details on the Charlottesville and others. Let's see, where did it go? It says the SPLC Where did it go? I just lost. Oh, there it is. One of the informants referenced in the charging document was an organizer of the 2017 Unite the Right protest in Charlottesville that resulted in the death of a counter protester. The SPLC paid him $270,000 to inform on planning for the event, the indictment alleges. And then also here's another case. It says the organization paid $1 million to a member of the neo-Nazi group National Alliance. It says that informant allegedly stole more than 25 boxes of records, which were later used by the SPLC to expose the hate group's activities in 2014. It says the SPLC later paid another informant within the group $6,000 to take responsibility for the theft, the indictment alleges. So that is obviously with you're paying $270,000. Of course, the Washington Post is going to spin it as to inform the SPLC on the event. Sure. Maybe $270,000 to do the event or make the event what it was.
Is that illegal though?
What's illegal is if you're doing it through fictitious, that's money laundering. If you're doing it through fictitious businesses and you're alleging to pay to the businesses to help your cause, but you're actually paying the people that you claim to be fighting to set up events that are against your, that's money laundering and that's wire fraud. But also, like what Blanche said, that's misleading your donors, which if you're telling them, which even if in the grand scheme of things, you want to claim it helps the left to have the propped up opposition, maybe the donors aren't paying for you to fund the Unite the Right protests. They're paying you to feed that money to organizations that help your cause, not hurt. You see what I mean?
But I would argue that's on the donor to know who you're donating to.
Right.
But if they're lied to about where those donations are going, you can't know.
Yeah. Right. But I still think it's like, well, that could happen with, I'm not saying what they're doing is good, but in some ways they were really smart to do that.
I mean, yes, obviously, like the SPLC, that is their agenda to justify its existence. You have to have these Unite the Rights and other
and what
protests.
It did, and what you said earlier, you said we didn't experience it, or not us experiencing it. And okay, sure, we weren't in Charlottesville, we weren't wherever, but we did experience it. And what it did was, where in the South, I mean, percentage wise, we have more Black people in the South than any other geographical location in the country. We used to go to the mall or the grocery store or church or whatever and pass Black people all the time and not think anything about it. Well, all of a sudden, all this comes up that now we're racist. Well, you're only half white, but you're still racist. And, we're bigots and we hate and all this CRT stuff where we're the oppressor. And now all of a sudden you go to the grocery store and you're like all of a sudden there's this weird feeling that was never there before. Now we're domestic terrorists at the school board meeting. So we did experience it. And in some ways they accomplished exactly what they wanted to accomplish. It wasn't through the right means. I don't even know if their donors will be upset about this. Because look what they got done over the past few years.
Yeah, they may just say, y'all should have done a better job of covering it up.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. I mean, there may be some donors who genuinely were thinking that the SPLC was fighting a righteous cause and that there's genuine, right-wing terrorism that they're fighting against. I'm sure there's donors that would be appalled that they were funding the Charlottesville and the KKK and the Nazi party. Like I'm 100% confident there are donors that are appalled and upset by that. Maybe not all of them. Maybe there's some more cynical ones that may have been in on the loop, but I guarantee you there's at least some donors that are very appalled by that. If you're a donor and you think that you're funding, I'll just say a random whatever of, African American empowerment, in the South LLC or something like that, and you think you're genuinely funding that organization, oh, surprise, you actually paid for the Charlottesville riot. Yeah, I'm sure or hey, surprise, you're actually funding the KKK and the Nazi organization. And I'm sure that there's some that would be very, very upset about that and take away the money laundering aspect of it, of saying you're funding a fake business when you're actually funding terrorism groups. That's just blatantly illegal. But
But here's the thing. If you follow along with the SPLC, they've gone after Heritage Foundation. They've gone after Moms for Liberty.
Turning Point.
Local Alabama, the group that I started, was during our Title IX stuff. We were in the mix with the SPLC. if you're and you're okay with that and you're funding that, I think you're going to be okay with funding. That's just me. Now, I'm sure there are some, but like to go after just I don't know.
Let me back up. When I said told and I meant experience, I mean we were not in Charlottesville. That's what I meant.
Right.
We
Right.
were not there. We did not experience that. We were told that they were racist. We were told that they were a bunch of horrible people there. We were told that that Trump said very fine people, and then it was debunked. That's what I mean when I'm talking about we were not there and didn't experience that specifically. But you are right. But mainly in my life, I experienced more racism growing up than I have in my life. I've spent my life at basketball tournaments. Everybody gets along. But you're right, the SPLC did come in and put some hideous things on us that we did start going, am I sure I can trust you? You using a lot of terms like the white people said, the black people said. That's stupid. So yeah, you're right. But I'm sorry. I meant we weren't in Charlottesville.
Yeah. I think I guess I was thinking just because we weren't there, anyway. Yes, we're. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. This was one of the things Alex Jones was screaming from the hilltops about when I was in high school, was that the stage or the Unite the Right Charlottesville was staged, and everybody thought he was crazy. And 9 years later, he's been vindicated as correct the whole time. So, but it makes you think, because when you see all these, studies from organizations like the SPLC that claim that 70% of political hate crime comes from right-wing extremism, and maybe the organizations doing the studies themselves are actually funding and paying for that right-wing extremism to happen. I'm not saying there aren't actual Nazis, neo-Nazis, and really evil people that do stuff like that. But if you're paying the $3 million to those organizations that you're claiming are committing the right-wing extremism, then that is so twisted and evil. And you're not actually fighting for a cause. You're actually wanting to justify your existence, and you're wanting to have something to claim you're fighting against. But also you want to sow discord, because what is this? If you want to connect it all the way back to the beginnings of, Martin Luther King and his Marxism and communism backgrounds. And then when the SPLC was like, what is their goal? To cause chaos and sow discord, because if you cause chaos and sow discord, then that allows for communism and Marxism to really take place. So what's the goal? You fund the discord and the chaos. You don't want people to actually get along, because that doesn't further your agenda.
Did y'all see that CBS News actually did a fair report on this? Actually did. Like big CBS, not little CBS. But you just wonder how many people today are going, oh, I bought that lie.
Yeah.
And how many more lies have we gotten caught up in? Like COVID. Like so many things. But this is egregious, and you wonder what else will happen. And I genuinely hope that this will just be the beginning of really digging into who is doing all this. It's not just the SPLC. And maybe George Soros is ungettable. Maybe he is. I don't know.
You got to start somewhere.
But you got to
downplay this.
You got to do it. And I guess I want for people that I know and love to wake up.
Yeah.
Wake up. Wake up.
Yeah. I'll say this would be one of the biggest accomplishments, if not the biggest accomplishment so far of the FBI in this Trump administration. Yeah. I mean, this would be huge. And I really hope, because Dan Bongino kind of cryptically recently talked about, because we saw the smear attacks of Kash Patel and him being a drunk and having alcohol issues in his administration and all, yada, yada, yada. And he said something about how these hit pieces are going to make a lot more sense in the next week or so. And then this dropped. So that makes me hopeful that from 2020, January 2025, when Trump got inaugurated, that they've been spending this whole time crossing their T's, dotting their I's, and making sure they've got all their ducks in a row before they come out with this, so that some judge doesn't find an issue with it and doesn't toss it. Like, I hope that this was done correctly, and I'm optimistic so far. And if like I said, if people start walking out in handcuffs from the SPLC and going to prison for what they've done, and it can put an end to this, hopefully, that would be one of the biggest accomplishments of this administration. It would be huge.
Man. And whoever thought that this would happen? I mean, did y'all ever think you'd see the day where something like this, where your group was in the mix?
Yeah. No, I think everybody, especially Alabama, we've known they were not what they said to be for a long time. But I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I just think of how many other of these stories, like the Minnesota fraud, all these things, we should be having the same conversation. I can't believe they're doing it. You know, so I'm thankful for this, but there's so much more we could be doing.
So true.
I think this is a great first step. Just keep it up. Yeah, this is what we voted for.
Yes, this is
why we fought. But like our family relationships on the line for this.
So true.
Like literally.
Real true.
So
what do we want to how about, so we got about 4 minutes. Do we want to briefly talk about the fact that the government shutdown is now technically over?
Yeah,
with
we
details?
missed that.
'Cause we
I
didn't know.
Yeah, we were doing all the things
The
at
water slides.
Great Wolf Lodge. Yeah.
The
But
hula hoop.
Being
Yeah.
stared at.
Luna
Luna
lobby.
Yeah, ICE and CBP have been funded for 3.5 years. I think the number was $140 billion over the next 3.5 years, because they were trying to keep the Democrats from shutting the government down because of the same reason again in just a couple of months in September. I'll pull up all the details, but I think it was a 69-day shutdown, partial shutdown, but is now over.
This is great.
So
I'll pull up the details.
how did this happen? And how did we miss this? We really missed it.
I think we missed it because we were in Dallas doing the things, but
We were listening. We were learning.
So they passed it. I mean, like in the House and the Senate, like we're done.
it's passed the Senate. It may have to go back to the House. So the Senate took first steps. This is from the AP poll from yesterday. Senate took the first steps in a new effort to reopen the Department of Homeland Security early Thursday, voting to adopt a budget plan that would fund ICE and Border Patrol over Democratic objections. Let me scroll down so I can find details. The budget process only requires a simple majority in the Senate, bypassing filibuster rules.
Okay, but does the House?
trying
Well,
to-
all budget items have to start in the House. So does that mean it's done?
It's got to go back to the House. It says potential roadblocks in the House. During the recess, Thune and Speaker Mike Johnson announced that they would pursue a two-track approach. Pass the Senate bill that includes most of the department's funding through party line bill to pass. And then Johnson says weeks later, though, Johnson still has not said when the House will take up the Senate's legislation that would fund the rest of the department.
So it's not funded. It just
It's
passed
going
the
back
Senate.
to the House. Yeah.
That's
It
not
says
as good.
it is unclear if members of his GOP conference will unite behind the narrowed budget bill because the Republicans have been grumbling about how it's $140 billion and it was really skinny and narrow. But the plan is for the House to fund the rest and then come back to the Senate, I guess, and pass with a simple
We've
majority.
got so far to go, people.
Yeah.
Would y'all like a little bit of breaking news?
I don't know. Is it good?
No. Well, maybe. You want
Did
a
another
little bit?
Redstone Arsenal?
No, we got to talk
scientist
about
die?
that. Mm-mm.
Okay.
The
Tell me.
Justice Department announced it's readopting the firing squad as a means of execution.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
I know.
Did they bring back dueling?
Not yet, but they brought back the firing squad.
Jousting?
No jousting. I'd be for jousting. What do you think about
Hanging
it,
by
JP?
horse?
I love firing squad as an option for.
I'm with you. I mean, didn't we say that's what we'd want to happen? Like if we had
Definitely
to
a
our pick of-
deterrent.
That is a deterrent for sure.
I mean, you know what?
Didn't somebody talk about that?
We
About
did.
how no. Somebody at this week talked about how we need to bring back like public.
Yeah.
Did David Barton do
Yes.
that?
Yes,
Was it
yes,
David
it
Barton?
was,
Yeah.
It said that
He was so good.
to have a proper deterrent, God had his executions publicly in front of everyone.
That's right. Oh, that was good.
A proper deterrent.
Stoning. Should we go back to stoning?
Yeah.
That one is brutal.
Yeah.
That's
Crime
a
would
brutal
go
one.
just like that.
Oh gosh, I don't know what we're gonna get to on the other side. We have the gerrymandering. Okay, we got to cover. We got lots of news. We'll be back.
Would be people's concerned about mifepristone.
Sure.
Could you talk to us about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think, I'm 62 years old, turned 62 in December. This is the most pro-life administration that I've ever seen in my 6 decades plus of life. There's no question about it. The most pro-life administration that I've ever seen. I think the administration that is friendliest to religion and faith that I've ever seen. And President Trump has demonstrated that again and again. We stand for life. We stand for the fact that we know that life begins at conception. We respect life until life's natural end. We respect the dignity of the person. We want to make sure that we stand with individuals who believe those same things, and we do. The recent March for Life, you saw that Vice President Vance address the country. The next day, there was a breakfast that was basically for all of the youth, the young men and women who'd come into this country come into the city from across the country. There was a breakfast that morning. Jim O'Neill, the deputy secretary, and myself, we addressed those students, and there were over 2,000 people there. And we talked about the fact, what we're doing for life, the fact that we know little boys are little boys and little girls are little girls, the fact that we know life begins at conception, the fact that we are doing things like, for instance, through my office, the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Health, we administer the Title X funds. So let me tell you, so just recently, because of our oversight, directed by Secretary Kennedy, our oversight over Title X funds, $2.3 million of grants that had been given before us had to be returned by Planned Parenthood. $2.3 million that will no longer go to killing children. $2.3 million that will no longer go to lying to women. Because of our oversight, they gave that money back, which is a huge victory. Absolutely. We make sure that we're enforcing the Hyde Amendment. President Trump, Secretary Kennedy, and myself, we are strong for this. No federal dollars are going to go toward abortion or procuring abortion services. We are strong with the Hyde Amendment, and we are making sure the Hyde Amendment is being enforced, unlike the last administration. Yes. We have made sure that monies, that when you have youth, children or youths, young girls who are taken custody coming across the border or something, that federal dollars cannot go to providing abortion services, because that was going on in the last administration. Just totally disregarding the Hyde Amendment. We stand strong. That's no longer happening. So for those right to life issues, we've been incredibly strong about that, and we're very vocal about that. Again, one of the things that impresses me most about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and he's always been this way, he really realizes that God has given an inherent dignity to every man, woman, and child, and we respect that dignity.
As an adopted person, and I know as an adoptive mother, we are so thankful for those policies. And as women who've lived through the nonsense, that the lies that have been heaped upon us, that you have to kill your child to have a life.
That's right.
We're very grateful for your stand in that regard.
It's again, all of this is a privilege, but we have to do it for the country. We have to, and we have to remember too, that all of the wins that we have in this administration and this Department of Health and Human Services, it only takes one election cycle for things to reverse. And so we can talk about this more later, but it's incredibly important for us as conservatives, for us as people of faith, to be motivated to vote in November, to get out, support those candidates who stand with President Trump and his agenda. It's going to be more important than it's ever been. I know every election it's like, this is the most important. So I'm not going to use that hyperbole, but this is an incredibly important election in November. So I want all of the people, all of the men and women who watch this podcast, who listen to this podcast, and there are so many, I want them all to know, tell your friends, tell your families, we've got to be out there supporting candidates in congressional districts and Senate races that support the president in November.
You posted recently about gender affirming care, gender dysphoria, and kind of your work, and you just mentioned, right to life. That I would agree, that is a life issue. Were you surprised when the American Medical Association came out recently and said that gender affirming care, genital mutilation, all that should be put off till adulthood? And Do you think that we're maybe turning a corner on all this?
I think that is I'm so glad you asked that question because, yes, so the American Medical Association is certainly backing away from its prior stance. It was the Academy of Plastic Surgeons. I think that's the right name. The Academy of Plastic Surgeons that said, and this is landmark, they said just this past week that we recommend that we don't do those mutilating surgeries, what we call the sex-rejecting surgeries on anybody under the age of 19. That is huge. That is huge. And I think we are turning this corner. We can never take our foot off the accelerator because I like to say that gender theory is like a vampire. It'll come back. You may think you've killed it, but it'll come back in the next hostile administration. So we always have to keep our foot on the accelerator for this, and we are.
Welcome back. Look, I thought that your hand was like, boop, but I was looking at a graph.
It was a little too subtle.
No, I should have been on it.
Graph.
I should have been on it.
Yeah, we need a little more elbow action.
Well, pow! Like you're throwing a curveball.
Well, do it live.
Okay. So here's the situation. There was a bit of redistricting going on in Virginia. I mean, Virginia is falling apart.
Biscuit.
They elected Spamberger. I'm saying that on purpose. I know her name is Spamberger. Spamberger. And they said, yeah, we're going to just make it, 10-1?
Yep.
10-1.
From 6 to 5.
Surprise!
So the Democrats pick up 4 seats.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a district court judge says, halt in the name of the law.
Yeah.
Not so fast, Tonto. Please explain.
So the vote, it was on the ballot for the voters to vote for, and it ended up passing, I think 51 to 49 was the percentages. And then a lower court judge overruled it, saying that the wording on the ballot was way vague, unconstitutional. And we're going to read actually what it says because it's pretty ridiculous. I'm put up on the screen.
Can I pause real quickly before we read this? Because this is one of my biggest complaints with these constitutional amendments. In Alabama, y'all, I swear I've said they purposefully make them confusing. I cannot tell you how many people reach out to me and they're like, please interpret this. It's almost like a foreign language. I know that's what they do.
Yeah.
So because we have an election coming up, if there's an amendment on there, please do your research, because half the time, if you think you should say yes, you probably should say no, but they make it really difficult. Okay, go ahead.
Says, question: should the Constitution of Virginia be amended to allow the General Assembly to temporarily adopt new congressional districts to restore fairness in the upcoming elections while ensuring Virginia's standard redistricting redistricting process resumes for all future redistricting after the 2030 census? So to restore fairness in the upcoming elections, what is that?
So what's the right answer?
Maybe you properly lay out without.
No. Like, how should we, if we didn't want the gerrymandering, how should we have answered that?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
That is super.
No, I do not want to
vague.
restore fairness.
I mean, that's just the language of the left, isn't it?
That's emotional abuse.
Exactly.
It's such gaslighting. Yes, because it's not fair now.
Yeah.
Apparently people who want to vote can't vote, and we don't have enough Democrats. That's not fair. The people of Virginia are already mad at Spamberger for what she's doing, for the rights that she's taking away. She said, she campaigned as a moderate. We all know she is a Louis leftist, big time leftist. And now this. Thankfully, the judge stepped in because it is vague language.
Well, it's like having your finger on the scale. It's like, who doesn't want fairness? But what does that mean? So if you're an uneducated or not plugged in and not even know what's going on, you're like, yeah, I'm not against restoring fairness. Of course. So yeah, that's.
I don't want to shove Granny over the cliff.
No.
You know how they
escalated.
Well, you know how they always do with healthcare. And if you're not for, you just Social Security or Medicaid or Medicare, you obviously want to take people out. This is that same language. You want fairness. Of course we want fairness.
It's emotional abuse right there. Here's what's important though. They did not say that you cannot draw districts based on political, like that's what's important. They said that the way the constitutional amendment was written was unfair and misleading and unright. They did not rule on whether you could gerrymander or draw districts based on political parties. And that's important because that's actually what we want to do in Alabama. Right?
Yeah.
So they can do that. You just have to word it right. Kind of like when they were like, you didn't present your case with the right word, so we had to rule against you. But go back and do it like this. I don't know what this means. Couple this with SCOTUS apparently slow walking their opinion coming out on Louisiana redistricting, which would have, if it's broad enough, it would have effects for Alabama and us redistricting. I think the liberals on the court know, well, obviously this decision went in favor of, yeah, you can draw them however you want to. And so now they are not turning in their dissenting opinion so that that opinion and that ruling cannot come out before the primaries, because I think they know if they did, the Republicans would win and we would have more seats. Everything is being manipulated right now. We have to really pay attention. But these maps matter because if that judge hadn't stepped in, they would have gained 4 seats like that.
I mean, it's kind of crazy looking at the actual map of Virginia. But it's vague and on purpose. And it'll be interesting to see how they go back and rewrite it, because they'll try again, right? Will. I mean, this is not going to go away.
Yeah. Well, so there's actually many points in Judge Hurley's ruling. This is from Charlottesville Tomorrow. Says the most sweeping finding is that the General Assembly was not authorized to introduce the amendment during the 2024 special session. The joint resolutions calling the special sessions limited the General Assembly to business concerning budget and revenue and a few other odds and ends, not constitutional amendments. That means, the judge said, the amendment was void from the start, which in legal terms means it doesn't exist. There are other findings, mostly involving timing and procedural issues, that the judge ruled the General Assembly violated along the path to get the referendum in front of voters. Says a separate key finding is that the wording of the ballot question itself was a, quote, flagrantly misleading question to the voters that quote, does not accurately describe the proposed amendment as it was passed by the General Assembly. So first, the General Assembly was not lawfully allowed to even bring about this constitutional amendment. And when they did, it was misleading wording. So.
Yeah, just a little note. When the legislature, or at least in Alabama, when they call a special session, it has to be very specific as to why you're there. You can't, if you remember, I can't remember if it was last week or this week, there was going around that there might be a special session before November about gambling. And so if you say, okay, there is going to be a special session about gambling and you decide you want to bring up taxes, that's illegal. You can't do that. So that is a good ruling too. How it got on the ballot, I don't know. Besides, there are corrupt people. They know the rules. They know how that's supposed to happen. Their Secretary of State knows that those things that come up out of order can't be put on the ballot, but they did it anyway. Which is why, y'all, we didn't break it. The social compact of like the rules of engagement that everybody says that we have to abide by in politics, the left breaks it all the time.
Right.
So are we still bound to that compact when they're not playing by the rules?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the question.
Well, and actually, I was just about to say earlier, or this was late last year, I believe, when Indiana was trying to redraw their maps to have a flat, all Republican, state. The state senators were like, that's not very principled. And when Indiana is one of the most deep red states in America, and even Indiana Republicans were like, well, we don't like it when the Democrats do that. So, and it didn't even pass out of the Indiana legislature, where meanwhile in Virginia, like, we're not even lawfully allowed to bring it up. Who cares? And then they put it on the ballot, phrase it that way, and then they get it through. Now, the judge obviously blocked it, but that just shows the different resolve from Republicans who are still trying to play by the rules and Democrats who are like, I don't care about the rules. I'm trying to kill you.
Mhm.
That's the difference in like, whereas in Indiana, it was like if they would have voted for it, it would have been lawful, legal, and would have been put in place. But our principles, and we don't like it when the Democrats,
It's because we are bowls of soggy cereal when it comes time to really do something. That's our
Microwaved
problem.
Grape nuts is what I think of.
Exactly. That's right. Leftover in the bowl.
That my Meemaw loved.
Ugh. Although I still keep saying I'm going to get some at the store. Okay. That is the whole problem, which is why, before I ask you this question that y'all are probably all talking about and have questions about, is why we have to stay engaged with politics and why we have to stay engaged with our leadership. Whoever is from your district, whoever is your senator, whoever is your local body, you have to stay engaged, because perhaps in Indiana, if people had been more engaged, instead of saying, man, it's red Indiana, we're safe, and said, what are you doing, guys? We want you to do this. Maybe they would have done it. This is a call to remain vigilant in your engagement with your community, because it matters. Because maybe sometimes we're the ones that are like, no, we're going to throw hands if you don't do what's right. We just can't keep being bowls of microwaved grape nuts. You're right. It's not nice.
It's not very nice.
But
we don't like it when they do that.
Please stop it. Stop it, you bunch of wimps. Let's go back to the black robe regiment. You preached a sermon, pulled off your robe, and then you had your soldier's uniform underneath. Let's do that.
I was vaguely listening to Joe Boot. Was it Joe Boot who spoke yesterday?
Yeah, he was right after that pastor.
Well, who was it that was talking about the pastor during the revolution that would like have his pistols?
Barton.
David
Barton.
So pistol on the left, pistol on the right, Bible in the middle.
Yep.
Let's go.
And it was the one story of one of the pastors that, I think it was that one actually, that ended up being one of the top generals in the army for the revolution. And his brother, another pastor in New York, was like, you're not doing the right thing. You shouldn't be involved. And then his brother's church got burnt down by the British. And then afterwards, he was like, oh, maybe I should.
Yeah.
It's like ironic.
It was awesome. Muhlenberg. Go Muhlenberg, boys. Okay. Guys,
what
are you watching? What is going on with the NASA scientist? Has anybody come to a conclusion? How does this end? What do we do? I got nothing other than, can they all just place them in one place, like make them sleep in a compound, keep them secure, offer security? What do you guys think is going on here?
Well, what's the latest? Didn't something happen while we were gone?
Yes, in Huntsville. A NASA nuclear scientist was found deceased in his Tesla after colliding with a guardrail, leaving his body so burned that he was completely unrecognizable. 29-year-old Joshua LeBlanc, who worked on nuclear propulsion projects, died in a fiery crash over the summer. So I guess this was over last summer. I don't know if this is new that they finally were able to identify him. But it says, according to Tesla Sentry Mode data, his vehicle sat at the Huntsville, Alabama airport for 4 hours on the morning of his death. His car was found later that afternoon. It said it collided with a guardrail before slamming into trees and bursted into flames. Said his family said it was completely uncharacteristic for him not to communicate with them and that it was not part of his plan to travel west that day. Said that he had an impressive resume. He worked at NASA for over 5 years. He was a team lead for NASA's Space Nuclear Propulsion Instrumentation and Control Maturation. And another prominent scientist committed suicide when in 2022 he put up a tweet saying that he was not suicidal.
I saw that.
Well, a lot can happen in 4 years.
It is coincidental, though.
I just don't like how I think that's too associated with Huntsville and Redstone. That's kind of scary. Right? The girl?
Yeah, I think this is the second one. And that the girl, I believe her last known location was in Huntsville in 2022.
Now, do we know she's dead, or did she just disappear?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked into
because her video, we watched her video where she's talking about their cars and people following her and license plates switching out, and how, what did she say in that last video? She said, I just need to post it all because it might be too late. I just need to post it all. And then she disappeared.
One was a gravity propulsion, one was Earth space observation, one was planetary robotic systems, one was research classified, orbital communication, research classified, nuclear weapons engineer, chemical biology, experimental drug development, plasma physics, exoplanets, stellar streams. And then William McCaslin was director of Air Force Research Lab, hypersonics, directive energy systems, and advanced propulsion tech. And then, yes, there was a 12th person, and I can't find him, but this is extraordinarily concerning.
Yeah. It has to do with either UFOs or space lasers or something.
Well, David Wilcock was the top UFO researcher that committed suicide, allegedly. And his last live stream he did before he died, he was talking about this. And he said, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. It's a little bit scary. So he talked about that. But then also, like I said, in 2022, he put up a tweet saying that he was not suicidal.
I think that was the latest guy, wasn't it? What's his name?
David Wilcock.
Yeah, he's not on this list. That's him.
He's a UFO researcher.
Oh,
he's different from propulsion.
But all scientists.
Right.
Under that umbrella. I really, Chris and I talk about it, and we're just watching in horror. I'm glad that they're looking into it, but that can't come soon enough. But we've got to do something to protect these people. I just don't know what's happening. What?
Smile about something.
Oh no. What?
So not funny. I was thinking about when we were going to bed the other night, and I can't. What? This is your fault, JP. And you were all into the scientist thing, and then we were like really upset about what was going on, and we turn out the lights and we're like, okay, good night. And then her phone dings. And of course she kind of fumbled, because like as a mom, you're like, okay, first of all, I got to turn my ringer off, but she fumbles around and she turns the light on, and I see her
put my glasses on.
She's got to put her glasses on, and she goes, oh, it's from JP. She starts reading. She's like, oh, it's a post by Jamel Brown. And she starts reading it, and then she goes, nope, not finishing it. Puts her phone down and turns the light out.
Oh, it was one of the worst.
It was bad. Terrible.
It was so bad.
Eyes.
Meanwhile, I was scrolling in my bed going, what am I looking? I was like, I can't be the only one that reads this.
Yeah, so you had to send it to us, but it was just funny because like as a mom, you're like worried that one of your kids is in jail, and she finally gets her glasses on, and she's like, oh, bananas and handcuffs. Oh, all right, we're going to bed.
I did. That is exactly what happened, which is kind of the perfect segue into Clown World.
Sorry.
That was so
bad. But it started with all that was going on at Redstone. Anyway.
It did. We were talking about it, and then Shazam. JP, you sent us the thing about Jamel.
We thought about having him on the show.
Nah, I think that's
and then I think he just
that ship has sailed.
I think we've just like it was kind of entertaining in the beginning, and now
it's taking a turn.
Yeah, we just can't do it.
A dark turn.
I will say this though about the UFO researchers and propulsion and such. I think if we had to give theories on what it was, and the representative, I can't remember his name on the top of my head, in the montage alluded to foreign entities doing this. My guess would be, there's been a lot.
I'm sorry. It was just so okay. Keep going. Just ignore me. I'll close my eyes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about Trump this summer announcing the declassifying all of the UFO research and having a UFO speech and all. The claim is that the reverse engineering and the propulsion is from the UFO, whether it's alien craft or whatever, and that there's such black op separate parts, fringe parts of the government that aren't communicating with others, and it's not effective and such. Maybe Trump, with his announcement of these programs and propulsion and such, all right, now we're merging. We're not going to have any more black op. We're not going to have any more. We're all going to merge and we're going to work on this together. And we're going to actually mainstream the propulsion technology and move it forward. Maybe that's technology we have that our adversaries, Russia, China, maybe they don't have. And maybe they're trying to get out ahead of this and saying, well, we just got to kill their guys. And I know sleeper agents, intelligent sleeper agents like from Russia and our adversaries that are here in the US living normal lives, and then they get a call of like, hey, we need you to take this guy out, and they go do it. Like, that's a real thing. Sleeper
like
agents,
Jason Bourne stuff.
yes, like sleeper agents from our adversaries here is a real thing. That could be this. I don't know. I mean, it's been dating back since 2022, so but that would be my guess, is that we've got sleeper agents or something from our adversaries here. And now that we're realizing that this may be headed towards a mainstreaming of this technology, we got to stop this. And we're going to take out their most smart and intelligent people. Regardless, it needs to get figured out, because we can't just keep losing our top guys like this.
Well, even if they weren't top guys.
Right.
Generally,
Obviously.
it's not.
Right. Yeah. So, well, we need to stop.
Not
it
for
regardless.
anybody's
I mean, if they were low level.
Yeah. If they were like bottom of the totem pole, we can replace them.
That's kind of freaky to think about. And I can't remember who it was. It maybe was on Fox News. It was a national news outlet saying this has every mark of an international kind of foreign agent operation right here in Huntsville.
I don't know what.
Agent man.
Well, first of all, our call for a whistleblower from Redstone is still out there. Text 833-687-4448. Regardless, one of the representatives on the show, or on a show, was asked, are aliens abducting these scientists? Are aliens, killing and disappearing these scientists that are doing UFO research? He was like, no, it's more likely it's just our adversaries killing. It's not aliens. Oh, great.
Chill out, dudes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's just Russia. Relax. Okay. Oh, thank you.
Sure. Okay.
Vicky.
All right, then. Well, that's that. If you guys hear anything, let us know, because apparently we're still going to be talking about this, because there's obviously work to do to get to the bottom of it. No, not at all. Okay. And now it's Friday, the end of the day, the end of the week. And that means it's time for Clown World.
No sodas. You can't get your coffee creamer. You can't even get ice cream. That's wrong. What am I to do? That's wrong. Somebody needs to do something about this. I know it's affecting everybody. I eat healthy. I love my fruit,
I don't believe you.
For me, I'm a transgender woman who lives in America. I have tried for a very long time to get my bottom surgery, but unfortunately it's been out of my affordability level for a very long time. In America, I'm disabled on SSDI.
Take it with a grain of salt, dude.
What's been the best part of your birthday so far today?
My previous actions don't meet the standard that I hold myself to.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Okay, time out. JP, what were you telling us, though, on the plane? You were, the plane.
He was spilling some tea.
Yeah, tell us, because I felt guilty when he said, because I didn't allegedly on him and that lady.
Rossini, the journalist.
Diana, and then he came out and said none of that's true. We were just with a group, and the angle was funny,
and we weren't cavorting at all.
No, and so I had
taken out of context.
I had guilt, but you told me something funny yesterday.
Do you want me to do this in my allegedly voice too?
Yeah, well, if you're going to debut who you are, what's your new name?
Virgil Heath.
I'm Jovi Ray.
And I'm Ophelia Pearl.
So allegedly, Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the Patriots, you know, the pictures came out of him holding hands in the pool with Rossini.
The pool
with Rossini, and he was his actual quote to the New York Post was that this is laughable. This is laughable. I don't even know why we're talking about this. Well, allegedly, listen, allegedly anymore, it's actually confirmed. Rossini's husband had a private investigator for 6 years. And
What
sat on this.
in tarnation are you saying?
Sat on this for 6 years. So
pause, please. Pause.
Yes. And what you say your name was again, sir?
Virgil Heath.
Virgil Heath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Virgil, why, pray tell, would you stay with a woman for 6 years and you know she been cheating on you?
The resolve and the patience of that man, because I think what he wanted to do was take down Vrabel too.
Well,
so I think
couldn't you do that 6 years ago?
I guess he wanted enough evidence over the years to bury him. However, when he said this is laughable, Vrabel, then we start seeing these pictures of multiple different occasions of Vrabel and Rossini at a casino together and 1 year, and then pictures of them kissing at a bar at another time. And he put out all these yesterday on the day of the NFL draft, mind you. Coincidental timing. And on top of that, here's the craziest part, okay? It's been going on for 6 years, right? Rossini had a baby 4 years ago. You want to know what the name of that baby is?
What?
Michael.
It ain't Michael. Get out of here.
Vrabel's name is Michael. So, and you know what? Here, I'm actually gonna pull this up. This is a tweet. This is a tweet.
I'm gonna pull this up.
This is a tweet from Rossini from years ago. I'll have to find it real quick. I know.
Well, does she say
it's about her son?
Oh no,
Her
it
son,
isn't.
Michael.
Who she look like?
Oh,
Who's he look like?
She may have deleted it.
I
can tell you. I can tell you from memory what it said though. She said, "I'm sitting here with my baby Michael, and I'm just thinking back, trying to name all of the greatest NFL players and NFL coaches that's named Michael. Thinking emoji."
No, she did not.
She did.
That is just ridiculous.
So,
that is ridiculous.
Here's the funniest part too. Rossini resigned and in disgrace. Mike Vrabel still has his job, and he's saying he's getting counseling.
Typical.
His family hates him. He's, his standards didn't, or his actions didn't meet his standards, but he's keeping his job. How's this going?
Okay. Also, could we go back to the husband though for a minute? I know he wanted to bury Mike Vrabel, but that man is a glutton for punishment. Like, he must have really loved his wife and maybe thought he could convince her to stay, but she's the wandering type, and you just can't keep them wanderers in home. I feel bad for him, but I might would have cut this off way sooner. That's just me. But wow, baby named Mike, dreaming about all them NFL player or great NFL greats named Mike,
coaches and players, which he was both.
She just punching her husband in the face. That ain't right.
We talked before about a certain vibe from the arrogant sort of people that may or may not. They got a vibe that they're cheaters.
Yes.
My Vrabel definitely one of those. This tracks. I'll just say that.
You think you can sense the vibe?
Oh yes.
You got the vibe.
Oh yes.
Can you sense it?
Yeah. I think so. I try not to assume because you don't want to assume, but I feel like you just kind of know. There's a little something that says, pay attention. But here's the thing. He says that's not indicative of his character and who he wants to be, and he's ashamed. Well, honey, you had 6 years to let that guilt and shame wash over you and change your ways. And you couldn't find it in 6 years? I'm not buying it.
It coming out, all of these photos coming out like hours apart on draft day. It was coordinated. And let me just tell you, if you are an NFL team and you need a opposition research, so to speak, or somebody to investigate to Rossini's husband is for that. That's who you need to go out. He had 6 years and sat on it for
so
6
loud.
years. And now,
Wow.
Huh. Well,
Wow.
Good luck with all that.
I'll say this too: if if any of Rossini's kids is going to be a 6'4", 220 NFL player, I'm gonna bet it's Michael. I'm just gonna say that.
Can we get a photo of Michael? I'm guessing he's got Mike's nose.
Can you imagine? I'm DNA testing that kid today. Today.
Oh, her poor husband.
Oh, it's so
run,
awful.
husband, run.
It's awful.
It'll never change. Well, y'all have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Oh, we actually have we have a huge, I know we've said it a lot of times. Pay attention to our socials and to us. We got a big week next week. Y'all have a great weekend and stay on the right side.